Welcome, fellow gamers.
It's time for Side Scrollers with me, Stuttering Craig.
You decide when you lose, not other people.
And Blabs.
I like pickles.
And co-hosted by our friends from around the internet. If you like common sense, hit that thumbs up button and, of course, the subscribe button. And join us Monday through Friday live at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on God's green earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I did it! Yes! And we're on time, and I'm not mute. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome to Side Scrollers. If you didn't know, Craig is not here today or tomorrow, and unfortunately, you are all stuck with me. And I'm really sorry about that, but I'm going to do my best that I can. We have a pretty good crew today and a pretty good topic. So first of all, my left-hand man, because he's a lefty. Hi, Extra Zero. You're not actually a lefty, you're right.
I'm left-handed, just so people don't get it twisted. But yes.
Look at that. Chat saying I started late. No. I started on time. Just saying. Anyway, hi, Extra Zero. How's it going?
It's going.
Left-handed Extra
Yeah,
Zero.
right. So left-handers of the world unite. No, it's going. Hey, on the topic of liking pickles, have you ever had the pickle in the pouch? They have that in your part of the world.
What's
It's
a
like
pickle in the pouch? Is that like...
So it's literally that. It's a pickle in a plastic pouch, and they have a hot one. It's Van Holten's is the brand, and the hot one is like the fucking bomb. Like, it's actually spicy. It's not like overly spicy, but it's actually spicy. It's like one of the most flavorful pickles I think I've ever had.
I can't say I ever had one, but listen, if I ever come visit, can you buy me one?
Sure.
Okay.
My
How about
7-Eleven
you?
keeps them stocked.
Eric, have you ever had that weird pickle bag thing?
I love getting the pickle in the pouch. That's all
See?
I'll say.
I knew you had
Is that
good
an
taste.
innuendo
Little
for
pickle
something?
tickle.
Now it is.
Okay. Anyway, Warren. Hi, Warren. Have you ever had a pickle in a pouch?
I don't think so. No.
What is that even? I don't know. I'm gonna lower you a little bit. Okay, perfect. Anyway, hi guys. How you all doing? Chat.
Great.
Oh, okay. You too. Great. Why is Blabs dressed like my grandpa going golfing in 1975? Listen, I wore the adventure hat today because today is an adventure since I'm hosting. Okay, that's basically why. And then I just wore this hat because it's linen and it keeps you cool and fresh because it's super hot out. The end. Anyway, hello. Make sure you guys slap the like button. We're trying to get to 1,000 today. And because Warren, Extra Zero, and Eric are here, you definitely should, because why not? Anyway, you guys could have found us on Rumble, Locals, Kick, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, obviously. I think I'm not even forgetting anybody. Oh, and X. X gonna give it to you. And we have an Instagram, don't we, Blabs? Yes, we do. So follow some memes and clips of the show. Otherwise, some sort of violence upon you and your cow. There. I did the intro super fast. Anyway, let's say hi to the chat and everything. But, hello guys, solo Blabs, basically. Anyway, hello. What is this? This is what this is?
That's what it is.
That looks disgusting. And first of all,
Look.
hot mama?
Yes. It is a hot and spicy pickle. And it is delicious. I'm telling you.
No. It's in a bag, right? Look, I see Rhino in the chat. Hi, Rhino. That's disgusting. No.
Oh, a pickle in a bag.
Yeah, I've had that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I find jars are a lot better there. They're more...
You could probably open that.
Yeah.
First of all, I have that little tool in the kitchen that pops the jar lid and air and everything. So I don't need no man to open it because I have a tool. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, don't knock it till you
Don't be
try
a baby. Listen, I will try it 100%, but it doesn't look very appealing to me whatsoever. Anyway, so let's just jump into it because we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. So I don't know if Warren or Eric saw the documents today, but there was one document in there that was talking about someone's birthday. Now, how old do you think the oldest person in the world currently is?
103.
Eric?
Is this human years or dog years?
Human years.
Probably like 108.
Okay, so currently there are 2 people in the world who are 116 years old and 117 years old. However, we're going to talk about this woman. She's 115 years old. And she lives with her daughter, who is 94 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Yeah, 94-year-old daughter. She lives with her 94-year-old daughter, and this woman is 115. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to live that long. I don't know how happy she is. Is she happy?
She looks happy.
Yeah, she looks
I
great.
don't think she can see.
Oh, she looks great for 115. Holy
She
cow.
looks fantastic for 115, but I don't know. I feel like that's a lot. She was born in 1909.
Dang.
Yeah. She's seen all the world wars.
It's kind of crazy for me to think, like, when I was a kid, like, I was basically raised by my grandmother. She managed a bowling alley. So I met people born in the 1800s, and it kind of blows my mind thinking that I met people from that era. And
that is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy birthday to this beautiful woman named Elizabeth Francis, who is 115 years old and the 4th oldest person in the world. Is that like a Guinness World Record? Like, do you get prizes for this stuff? Tax deductions? I don't know.
Only if you break the record.
Well, right now it's
prize other than your name
117.
in a
So, listen, Eric, you got a lot of work to do. 117. Can you get there?
Man, I don't know if I could live that long. That's a long time.
I wonder what her secrets were. Like, how did she live this long?
It's crazy that you mentioned that because, like, a lot of times, like, you see, like, some of the oldest people, and like, yeah, I smoke cigarettes every day, and I don't
She's just a chain smoker.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy.
if you're a Simpsons fan, they have the whole thing with, like, why they explained, like, why Mr. Burns lived as long as he has, and he had, like, 3 Stooges syndrome, where he just had every disease known to man, and because he had every disease, it was basically keeping him, like, basically they were all crowding. The gag doesn't work, like, unless you see it, but yeah.
Yeah. All the diseases are just fighting each other instead of aging.
Exactly.
Benjamin says, y'all look like Bond villains. What does Istiga mean? But thank you. We all look like Bond villains. That's fine. That's fine. You know what? Listen, I told this yesterday, and speaking of Bonds, I saw a movie with Daniel Craig in it before Daniel Craig was James Bond, and he does, like, his, like, American accent that he does in that mystery movie that he's currently doing a series of. It's kind of funny.
Knives Out.
It's like some Western accent, and you don't really expect it from this British man. Anyway, it's
like seeing Jason Statham with hair.
Has he ever had hair?
Yeah, the movie Ghosts of Mars, he had hair. That was, I think, a John Carpenter movie. Mind.
It does. Anyway, where's Craig? Craig's on vacay today and tomorrow, so you're just stuck with me. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. So, did you guys know that Marvel and Hasbro are releasing a life-size Green Goblin helmet with electronic pumpkins from Spider-Man No Way Home?
I did.
Are you going to get it?
No.
Okay. Well, okay. Did Warren or Eric know about this?
I did not. What does an electronic pumpkin do?
Well, I want you to guess how much it's going to cost.
$45.
125.
So you guys are kind of right. So the Green Goblin helmet will be $124.99, which is it's pretty big.
Oh,
Look at this thing.
I can say too that the Marvel Legends props that they've put out have only gotten better and better. For the most part. Now I don't collect them anymore because I'm like checked out of the MCU, and also I don't. This one actually I would make an exception, but I don't have space for it.
Yeah, and then the electronic pumpkins is going to be $39.99. That's actually, honestly, cool. It looks cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Green Goblin fan. I have no desire to ever spend this money on it, but it does look pretty sweet. Yeah. But you guys know what I just realized? I didn't do gaming history yet. So anyway, guys, August 1st, I know I'm going to get all the shit for this, but that's all right. So we have Double Dragon V, The Shadow Falls, releasing back in 1994. We have WWF, The Royal Rumble, releasing back in 2000. And listen, Super Monkey Ball Adventure, releasing back in 2006. Now, I've not played this specific one. I played it on the Nintendo DS, and I don't think it's the same video game. I can't remember. But I had a fun time playing Super Monkey Ball, and I'm excited for the new Super Monkey Ball for the Switch that's coming out.
It's already out.
Wait, it's already out?
Yeah, I have it.
Is it good?
I've enjoyed it so far. It's the only thing I wish is it had the original graphic style, but yeah,
I didn't even know it was out yet. Hang on, I'm making a sticky note.
It came out the same day as Nintendo World Championship.
Dude, I thought it wasn't out yet. Buy Monkey Balls. That's gonna be a weird note later, but
because the crazy thing is, I bought it for $50, and now it's already down to $35. So go on Amazon and get it now. It's on sale.
Yeah, listen. Here's what I'm gonna say, guys. Never
It's already
pre-order.
dropped in price.
Yeah, it already dropped in price. It dropped in price 2 weeks after it came out. I was like, what the fuck?
Is it because it's bad and no one's buying it?
It's just because like I don't think anybody realized it came out. It's like one of those things where like Sega's just shit with marketing outside of the Yakuza games anymore.
Yeah, wow. I honestly completely forgot. Wow.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the private chat so you have it.
I'm gonna sneeze. Nope, we're okay. Anyway. Alright, guys, so since we get into some light topics, let's get into it. It's everybody's favorite section.
Hard news.
Sorry, Eric. You can go ahead and do it again.
All right. Yeehaw! There we go.
I couldn't stop. I was like, shit, he's here. Okay, so this is absolutely insane in my opinion. So as you guys are aware, San Diego Comic-Con just finished. It was last week. But here's some crazy shit that went down. 14 people arrested in Comic-Con sex trafficking sting. That's disgusting. How does this happen?
That's insane.
It's just one of those things, I guess, where people think that, doing something in plain sight, like, hey, we have a crowd of people. It's gross. It's horrible. But it just kind of goes to show you that, this sort of stuff happens like right under your nose. It can happen anywhere. Like I read a story about, a flight attendant that saved a little girl on an airplane not too long ago. And again, the people that do this stuff, it's just like brazen and in public. So it's just it's really sad.
Warren, you look pretty pissed over there. What's your thoughts?
I'm just confused. I'm wondering how this went down. Like,
all right.
were they? I don't understand. It seems like the most unlikely place for that, like a convention of nerds.
Since you asked, let's read it. An anti-human trafficking operation at San Diego Comic-Con resulted in 14 people being arrested, California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced Wednesday. So from July 25th to July 27th, the San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force conducted a human trafficking sting aimed at recovering victims of sex trafficking and targeting sex buyers using the San Diego Comic-Con convention to seek out potential victims. 10 victims were recovered and offered services, but how did this happen? They're not really telling. Unfortunately, sex traffickers capitalize on large-scale events such as Comic-Con to exploit their victims for profit, said Bonta. These arrests send a clear message to potential offenders that their criminal behavior will not be tolerated. We are grateful to all our dedicated partners involved in the San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force, whose collaboration has been invaluable. We take great pride in our office's commitment to uplifting vulnerable Californians by offering them assistance and guidance when they need it most. It sounds like a bunch of words. They're not saying anything. Ugh. Now let's see. The world's largest Comic-Con draws in They're probably not going to say how they discovered it. But either way, finding 10 victims, including a girl just 16 years old, disgusting. People are insane, but I'm glad they found them at least. That's insane. Wow.
Furries are disgusting.
Yeah. Lots of people. Ugh. Anyway, Demi says, MrBeast also ran virtual kitchens. Check it, Bobs.
Well, we knew about that because he had the ghost kitchens, right? With the MrBeast burger.
Yeah. Cole Summer says, Daniel Craig Kentucky accent movie. Logan Lucky. Yeah, he's got a weird Kentucky accent. I'm not going to lie. Norm, oh man, says photographs from people born in 1700s are insane to think about. Look up the photo of President John Quincy Adams and Revolutionary War veterans and prepare to have your mind blown. Huh. Well, thank you very much, Norm, for that. Wow, we got some levels tips to get. So, Spoon Ninja for $1 says, hey, the button's here now. I'm glad you found the button. Then he says, hello, normal men. Then he says, Crag it. And then Spoon also follows up with Broman likes pickles. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. Also, hello, Rumble and Kick. I do see you guys. Okay, let's move on to what I'm gonna guess is Eric's favorite show in the world, The Rings of Power. So, have you guys seen season 1?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Okay, what'd you think?
I was underwhelmed, for sure. I think like most people were.
I think I've already forgotten what happened.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that too. It's very difficult to remember. Yeah.
Well, did you guys see season 2 trailer yet?
Saw a bit of it.
I have. Yeah.
Briefly.
I
What'd you
also
think?
forgot what happened in it.
I mean, you can't tell what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
super-
good to know.
Apparently,
well,
what's his name is? I can't remember it. What's his name? Sauron was in
yeah?
disguise, and they realize it.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
oh,
Right. Yeah, well, we figured that out in season 1, right? We figured out he's Sauron at the very end.
Halbrand. That's right.
Halbrand. But no, like some people were reacting to the trailer saying, "Oh, it might be good. You know, it does look better, but you can't judge off a trailer, unfortunately."
all right, well, this guy has the most annoying face, I find. Like, I just kind of like want to smack him. But anyway, he says, he's defending the series race swapping by saying a lot of people are speaking on behalf of Tolkien. I don't know if they understand the spirit of Tolkien, which is funny because does he understand it, and what makes him qualified to say that people don't understand it? So let's just quickly read the Bounding into Comics article. I'm like completely covered in ads because I removed ad block because it was bothering my YouTube. But Amazon's Lord of the Rings, blah blah blah. I don't know if they understand the spirit of Tolkien. Yeah. So that's him, by the way. Is he a good character or is he a shit character?
I don't really.
He
I'm
wasn't
like,
that bad, actually. He's probably one of the better characters in the show.
All right.
But
When I first saw him, I thought he was
Not
the
saying
same
much.
guy that played Grey Worm in Game of Thrones.
he
But
does
I-
look similar. Yeah.
He is different, but
See,
Different
chat
actor.
says Don Lemon, and I honestly can't
Kinda.
unsee that.
Yeah,
he
his
does
nickname is
look
Don
like it.
Lemonmoss. Yeah.
he's cooler than Don Lemon.
see that's something, Eric. You gotta like now trademark Don Lemon Loss.
Or discount Don. So we have this article. He says, speaking to his casting during Entertainment Weekly's Brave Warriors panel at the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con, per a recap provided by the outlet, the actor asserted, my character is not in the lore of the Lord of the Rings, and that was an issue for some people. It was a big controversy of me being the first elf that wasn't white, the actor continued. I love the nerve that I pinched. I really do. Oh my God, Best Buy, I don't want your shit. Anyway, I love the nerve that I pinched. I really do. I was so excited to create something new. A lot of people speaking on behalf of Tolkien. I don't know if they understand the spirit of Tolkien. His work speaks of the times. Isn't that funny? So, he is now in position of telling everyone else how they should be thinking. And if you don't like that his entire character does not make sense in the lore, you're the problem. Basically, the end of that. I don't know how this show will go. I had no interest in watching the first one, mostly because I don't even have Amazon Prime.
Really?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't have like any streaming service.
No, but I mean, like it's weird to run across like even most people just have Amazon Prime as a service. So
I don't even. Anytime I have it, it's because they offer to me for free for the month, and then I just reject it afterwards. I'm like, nope, thanks. I end it like the day before they're gonna charge me. I'm like, bye. Yeah, I don't have any streaming service. I mean, I'll probably have to get it for the Harry Potter show in 2026 for HBO, but like, no, or I don't bother with streaming services because I just want to be able to watch my stuff. Whatever I want. I don't want to have to pay for all these different streaming services. I'd rather just have the DVDs or whatever.
I just have it for the free shipping. Like I don't care about the music. I don't care about the Prime Video.
Well, because where I live, it doesn't even take. They're not even that fast on shipments, so it's not worth it for me. Because they just don't care. If you don't live in like the city or whatever, they're like, bye, don't care about you.
Yeah, I get like free shipping, but I live in the middle of nowhere and on a farm, so I need the free shipping because I'm getting like Amazon packages like every day because it's just easier to order something than go to the store. It's 30 minutes away, so
yeah, I feel you on that one. So since Good Luck Rings of Power Season 2, I'm sure no one's gonna make fun of you and make a bank amount of money off of your stupidity. I'm sure that'll never actually happen. But
it's supposed to premiere like this week or next week, right?
Is it?
At the end of the month, I think. Yeah, 4 weeks.
And there's no hype like season 1. Like there was a big blitz for season 1.
A lot of media interviews and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they were hiring influencers to promote it too. There was this one chick, I have to talk about this because I think it's hilarious. This one chick, she does Maggie Smith cosplays, and she's a Wizarding World expert. But they hired her for the Lord of the Rings, and then it comes out that this woman didn't actually know anything about Lord of the Rings, and she's like, "It's fantastic, it's this, it's that," and then she just disappears for the promotion. Yep. It's kind of funny, so their PR is amazing. But Benjamin says, Istag means I swear to gosh. F-U, YouTube. Oh. Also, Blabs, you look like the guy from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The movie, not the Japanese emo band. I look like a dude? Well,
you look like Hunter S. Thompson.
All right. Well, people call me Elliot Page a lot, so that's fine.
Get like a long cigarette on the shoot, what are the plastic things? The plastic filters.
My Mickey Mouse pen.
Yeah.
The Cruella DeVille cigarettes.
Yes.
Yeah. Norm All Man says Don Lemonless never read anything from Tolkien. Exactly, and that's my whole thing. It's like, who is this guy to go and tell other people who have like spent years of their lives reading and like dissecting these novels, and who are you to say no, you're wrong? Like, have you read anything from Lord of the Rings? What makes you the expert? Whatever. But since we're on the topic of like San Diego Comic-Con with the Sting and then freaking Don Lemonless, I'm going to show you this video. And I really want to know everyone's opinions, and especially chat, because there's a whole bunch of you in chat and you all think differently, and I think that's fantastic. So for context, this was a little Fantastic Four panel, whatever's going on, announcement at San Diego Comic-Con, and Vanessa, Kirby, and Pedro Pascal are on stage. And we're just going to watch the video, and you guys let me know what you think. Is that weird?
Are they a couple?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's ick, right?
Are they dating?
No, she's dating someone else.
Oh.
I looked it up. I'm like, who? Okay.
I thought they were dating.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that on X and everybody being like, well, that's so weird. I was like, I don't see why that's that weird. I kind of get like, okay, it's a little awkward, but if they're not dating, all right, now we can have a conversation.
Yeah, no, she's not dating him. I looked it up. She's been dating some other dude for at least like 2 years.
Is that the Invisible Woman?
Yeah, that's Vanessa Kirby. Yeah. She's gonna be playing Sue Storm.
Maybe they're method actors getting in the character.
Ugh.
Yeah, is he single?
Weird.
He's creepy. Is Pedro single? Yeah. I don't know. He could be gay for all we know.
Okay.
Weird.
That definitely looks like couple.
Yeah.
But like, you don't think she's like fighting him off or anything with like casually like, oh no, hold your hand instead. Like, stop touching me.
Oh, that's an interesting read. I didn't think about it like that.
Like protection. Like, oh, you're gonna stroke my arm. How about just hold your hand instead and be done with it?
Yeah. It's interesting on his Wikipedia. Normally on Wikipedia they have like personal life. He doesn't have one, because I was just curious, like, has he ever publicly dated anybody? And no.
He might be gay. I don't know.
If you think of his breakout role in Game of Thrones, that's what he played. He played basically a gay dude, and he's a sparrow. And he was basically married, but he was he liked dudes.
He liked everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he kind of was mostly bisexual, but yeah.
Gable says he has anxiety. That's why he said it himself. Well, if that's the case, I mean, it's still kind of weird. Even if you have anxiety, that doesn't give you the right to start touching somebody else awkwardly.
Well, I could see that. He's in a crowd. There's a crap ton of people and
Yeah.
Hall age.
Wait, there
and
is a personal
he's just looking
life thing.
for emotional support from a friend. But yeah, it looks kind of weird.
Let me read you this one, Blabs. Personal life. Pascal is fluent in both English and Spanish and has been a resident of New York City since 1993. Developed a close friendship with actress Sarah Paulson soon after moving there. Pascal is an advocate of LGBTQIA plus rights. He was supportive of sister Lux Pascal. When she came out as transgender, Lux said he's been an important part of this. He's also an artist and has been a guide. He's one of the first to give me things that form my identity. Pascal identifies as agnostic, progressive, liberal. He endorsed leftist Gabriel Boric in the 2021 Chilean presidential election, but there's nothing else about like him having any relationships whatsoever. Which
He's been pretty quiet about that, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. All right. So, chat, you've been pretty talkative. So, first of all, Orthodox Monk says it's something called a cigarette holder. Extra 0.
Okay.
Javi says I don't allow my woman to hold my hand that way. I don't allow my woman to hold my hand that way. I don't understand how. Okay. Anyway, Matthew for $20. Thank you, Matthew. Says I'm wondering if he's probably doing that because he's Latin. I know that in my culture, how we show affection is through touch. I'm Italian, by the way. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe it's not meant to be creepy. Absolutely. Maybe it's like they are both super comfortable around each other, and that is okay.
The men of New York City are a far different breed of like what you consider to be a New York City man when I was younger. I mean,
how long has he lived in New York City though?
Since 1993.
Okay, so 30 years.
31 years. I don't know. Maybe we're just looking far too into it, but I'm like, is Vanessa, are you okay? I hope so. Norm says Pedro Pascal has no personality, and so he takes on the personality of the roles he plays. He's simpin', plain and simple. Yeah, I don't particularly like him all that much.
He is going to be playing a version of Reed Richards that is probably going to be a cuck.
My disappointment's immeasurable. My day is ruined. I want to point that out. Over on Rumble, dude says, Sue, who else has the Arrow, the Acrobat Gainer released on the 2025 bingo card? I did not have that. I'm sorry.
I knew about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know about that. And then Gear says, I don't know, the Cooksim chat was leaked again. Thank you, Gear. And then Ian gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much, Ian. If you have one, please say thank you and consider passing one along to a friend in chat. Thank you very much, Ian. Much appreciated. And then Javi says his hand is positioned under hers.
That's what he means.
Oh, okay, and hand holding. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I hate when people hold hands like that. I find that very uncomfortable for me. So that's how I hold hands like that. Or whatever. Anyway, let's move on to something very, very indifferent, but still, maybe it's up to you guys to let me know your thoughts. Discord released a large update on Xbox that includes direct calling. So the update will introduce the ability to voice call Discord friends directly from your Xbox Series X, S, or Xbox One console. This eliminates that previously fiddly process setting up voice calls on Xbox consoles through a direct smartphone app. Are you guys ever going to use this?
I think it's awesome, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing. I've the past couple weeks I've played with the Melee Games crew. They've done Halo nights, and because Halo's cross-compatible with PC and Xbox, we were playing as a mix of people. Some people just have Master Chief Collection on Xbox, and some have it on PC. I have it on both, but I chose to play on my PC just because it was more convenient for me. But I think this is great because there's so many cross-compatible games, and a lot of people prefer to use Discord for their voice chats anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think this is a really cool option, and I stuff like that, I see the functional applications of it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like doing like the actual party calling on Xbox, and sometimes it's very finicky.
Yeah.
So I mean, this works. My only thing is I absolutely hate having extra like apps and things like connected to each other. You know, when there's hackings, everything is basically taken from you, and I don't know. It's like, yes, it's very helpful, but at the same time, like, I don't really want all this information put together.
Is my audio coming in low?
A little bit. I'll boost you.
Yeah, if you don't mind. I don't know why. Let me turn my gain up a little bit.
Oh, I just boosted you, just so you know.
Okay, I'll leave
I'm
it.
Surprised it took this long for them to get direct calling on Xbox.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it is true.
How
yeah,
long it's been out.
Yeah, and another thing too is when Back for Blood was first on Games Pass, I had friends that wanted to play it, and this was before I built my new PC. So my old PC was a dinosaur, so I was playing Back for Blood. So I'd take my phone downstairs where the Xbox was, and I would just get in a Discord call through that, so I could play with my friends that were on PC. So Back for Blood did suck, but we were interested in it because the pedigree of the game. But I just, regardless of the state of Xbox, options are good, and I'd much rather have options than not.
True. That's very true. Nathan says, this sounds like a bad idea. LOL in the best way. True. And then I saw something really funny. Where was it? Let's see. Consoles dead outside of Nintendo. They essentially won. I agree. PC has won. How else are they going to get your voice for the clone that replaces you? No, that's funny. It's true, though, but it's sad. Benjamin says, Blabs, you and the gang should play Phasmophobia. I've actually never played Phasmophobia. I think I own it.
I think I own it, too.
It's a good one.
Never played it. Anyway, don't forget, chat. Let's slap that like button. All right, moving on to something that nobody in their right mind has ever asked for. Yet, here we are. Today is the day. Have you ever wanted a sniffable laptop, Warren?
No, I have not.
Are you going to buy one now? Because ASUS announced a sniffable laptop with a built-in fragrance dispenser.
Interesting. Okay.
I seem to recall last year when the Ninja Turtles movie came about, they had a sniffable pizza-scented Xbox controller, and I seem to remember you amongst the crowd of people that wanted that.
I don't know, man. I think it's weird. A lot of chat's like, why?
Yeah, I don't know why. Who's asking for this on their laptop for features?
Well, this is from Dexerto. ASUS reveals sniffable laptop with built-in fragrance dispenser. ASUS is teaming up with a notable fragrance brand, Anna Sui, to release a 14-inch laptop with its own interchangeable scents. Can you imagine how OnlyFans chicks are going to react to this? Buy my scent with ASUS.
Remember the Gwyneth Paltrow candle?
Oh no, the pussy candle.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all wrong. It's all bad.
People will judge me, but when I had
Not
COVID,
ready to go.
when I had COVID, I did aromatherapy and it worked out really well for me. And I actually have a little oil diffuser that I keep. I have one on my nightstand. Well, actually, it's a humidifier, and then I have this in my office. And there is merit, but why buy a laptop with that feature when it's something that's proprietary, something that's going to break? When this is $10 and you can put whatever essential oils you want in it, and it does its thing, and it's $10, and it's so portable.
He's like, and lavender.
Yes,
so
and the lavender is nice. Blabs, that I had to talk about lavender scents.
Yeah, we do love our lavender. It's true. It does help. Yeah. Listen, chat, if you're ever stressed out, I'm not joking. Lavender will help you. Yeah. It's been proven. Study.
I'm a young-looking 39-year-old.
I guess I could see the use. Say you're taking your laptop to a cafe or something, or you're around smelly people.
The BO of the stank.
You're at the conventions, right? And there's people around I'm just gonna put the scents dispenser so you don't have to smell the smelly people around you.
If I'm going to a con,
how often does that happen?
I'm dressing like Spider-Man, and I'm gonna have 2 cans of Febreze in place of web shooters, and I'm just gonna be,
Yeah, well, let me read this because this is pretty funny. ASUS is no stranger to producing some of the most elaborate collabs in tech, like EVA, O2, anime-inspired PC, and accessories. But now the company has sniffed out a brand new, unlikely team-up. I see the pun they did there. ASUS and Anna Sui, I'm assuming that's her last name. I'm sorry if it's not. One of the biggest brands in perfume fragrances are coming together to release a new laptop that not only looks great, but smells great, too. The new Fragrance Edition Ado Book 14 Air is set to be... Yeah, Fragrance Edition. Isn't that funny?
That's actually what it's called.
Yeah, it's called the Fragrance Edition. Sean in the chat says, I'm more of a Hawaiian breeze guy. It's set to be a 14-inch laptop with a custom fragrance dispenser in the lid. This magnetically connected dispenser can play host to 1 to 3 different fragrance sheets. As reported by Video Cards, the 3 scents available are Bee and New Her. What the hell is even that? Basil and Mandarin, and Rose of Man's Land. No man is going to buy a Rose of Man's Land.
I'm sorry. Like I like basil as an ingredient, but
Oh yeah.
I don't really know that I want to be smelling it like all day. Then
Dude, I'm just gonna say, if they ever made basil perfume, I would wear the shit out of that. It smells so good. It clears the sinuses. Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. Fragrance. What did I say? Fragrance. Is that not wrong? It's not a pun, Blabs. You just pronounce it weird. I guess I'm weird. Anyway. Okay, let's keep going. The 14-inch laptop sports a 280/80 by 1800 OLED display with a 240 HC refresh rate and comes packed with 32 gigabytes of blah, 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 blah. Anyway, is this like the whole set? Do you get like this box for the laptop? Is that how it's shipped? That's hilarious. Wow. So, are you guys gonna get this?
I might now. I'm curious. I just got an ASUS, my first gaming laptop. That's what I'm using right now. I just got an
ASUS are pretty good.
There's butterflies on this. Look at that. Look at the beautiful butterflies.
I think I saw a shredder in that package, so you could shred your man card when you buy that laptop.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yes. Look at all this beautiful
Portable
stuff. Very
shredder.
purple. This honestly, think about OnlyFans, all the thoughts on Kick and Twitch. They're gonna go gaga. You can buy my scent if you buy this laptop. Like, they can totally partner with ASUS. And just go wild with this.
Thinking out loud, though, with the rise of portable handhelds and docks, like I have a Steam Deck, and having a Steam Deck, I just have no desire to have a gaming laptop. Like we have Chromebooks in the house, so if I need to do anything that like requires typing or whatnot, great. But I just have that Steam Deck for my gaming fix, and it plays just about everything. So I don't know. I'd rather just have my PC over here and
your
Steam
oil
Deck
essential diffuser right next to you. It's all like, separate.
I can rock this with my Steam Deck and even color coordinate. Yeah, I know Chromebooks, but we got it for free for something. I can't remember for what. They're just like, here, take it.
Suna Soul Silver says, you made lavender sound like a drug. I mean, don't knock it till you try it. Ian so forth with 50 British pounds. Holy shit, I gotta find you some titties. There it is. Okay. It's not, Ian so forth with 50 says, it's not gonna be hard to spot the people in Starbucks with sniffable laptops. Sorry, the boobs distracted me for a second. I forgot how to read. But thank you very much, Ian, for the 50 British pounds. It's very true. The people will go crazy with this in Starbucks. And Gear says, and it's an ASUS used to have one, but it broke very quickly, and handling the warranty is a pain in my rear bumper. Don't buy it. I don't think I've ever had an ASUS.
Mine does something really weird, and if you guys tell me if anybody's ever experienced this, it'll be like closed, and I'll try and open it up, and it won't come alive, and I'll have to plug in. I will either have to plug in the power, or if the power is already plugged in, I have to unplug it from the power, and then it will wake up.
I bet what you need to do is just get into your BIOS, and you probably have a setting in there to wake the device up by USB. That's probably all it is. It's probably a toggle, and whoever configured the machine, it was just an oversight on their end.
Strange, because it only does it very randomly, like a few times. So
yeah, just make sure it's enabled. That could be why. It could also be something else. It could be a driver issue where it just, for whatever reason, there's a bad driver that doesn't allow it to wake up by input.
Gotcha.
Well, chat, let us know in the comments below if you would buy a scented laptop. Yeah, I was thinking when I read the title, it's gonna be like a scratch and sniff. Like,
that's what I thought when you said it. Yeah.
But nope.
Scratch the logo on it.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Jason says, alternatively, you could buy a car air freshener and tape that to the back of your laptop. It would be a lot cheaper.
That reminds me of the old memes when, back before Bluetooth earpieces were super affordable. Like you had like the guy like with the tape and the rubber bands holding the phone to his ear. You remember that meme?
No, actually.
Oh.
Lots of no's in the chat.
Dinosaur memes.
Lots of no's in the chat saying they would not buy it, and I can't blame you. Orthodox Monk says, I'll stick with burning incense made by Orthodox Christian monks. I'll let you guys have the goofy farting laptop. Oh my god, does it make noise, this laptop, when it diffuses oils and stuff? That's a great question. Right? I don't think the e-thoughts and the OnlyFan girls are gonna like that if it farts and things. Hero Sword Pieces. Penguins, so basically doubled down about the puberty blockers in his comeback video last night. You guys gonna go over that? Well, I haven't seen anything about this. Anyone know anything about that? He doubled down on his puberty blockers.
Is.
Oh, that's
Moist Critical?
Yeah, Moist Critical.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I know about this.
Any say on this before we continue?
I mean, I forgot what the person was saying about it, but no, he had. I heard the debate, and I saw he just posted a video about it yesterday. I think he's not retiring. I don't know what everybody's talking about with him leaving the internet.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was poorly worded by his employees, and then, yeah, the whole thing's just a mess, in my opinion. Lots of people, just because you can speak, sometimes better you just shut up. That's just my opinion about it. But, hi, Mike. Mike says it's Warren. Hi, Mike. Anyway, all right, so let's move on. We do have a little bit of MrBeast news that I do have to cover, or else I will hear Craig yell at me from beyond. Okay, so this is from Drama Alert from 19 hours ago, and it says Kris Tyson leaks taken offline mysteriously. Reason is not clear. Context, they were taken off by multiple sites used by the original alleged leakers. Now, right here is where it's interesting because this is the Nathan. Nathan was on the show the other day, who goes by, was it Prism, I believe? No, actually, sorry, I'm Brain Freak. And he says, we are working hard at getting the Discord leaks back online ASAP. They will not silence us. So it wasn't even him who actually got the leaks removed. So that's very interesting in itself. But then we also have this little bit here. Also from Drama Alert, shout out Keemstar for the news. Former MrBeast employee who tried to expose MrBeast hit with cease and desist allegedly just days after another employee debunked him. Do you think they're going to go to court? So ex-MrBeast employee again hit with cease and desist. So that's interesting.
That's stupid. He was not debunked. The response did not debunk the most important points he even made. Did you see the debunking?
No. Do tell me more.
So one of the guy who claims like I'm the one who fired him. He tried to go through, but what he omitted is more revealing. The most damning allegations I would say are around the illegal raffles or whatnot. He doesn't even touch that. He's talking about no, that person wasn't a paid actor. We used 3D rendering on this. He's just addressing very surface level things. And I think that kind of brought about a whole new wave of reactions. It kind of, it ramped it up even more.
Yeah, this whole thing is it's gross. This whole MrBeast situation. Very, very, everything about it just is ick, in my opinion.
Yeah. Has there been any drop in viewership on it? And how many videos has he published since this all broke out?
When I checked his viewership last week, MrBeast, it was actually increasing because everyone was subscribing, waiting to see for news and things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
what about the ratios on his videos?
Yeah, that would. You know what? Let me look. You talk amongst yourselves.
I think it's so fresh though. People don't know what to think yet. I mean, it just really is starting to be talked about. I mean, I know you guys talked about it, but I think you were talking about the other, that Kris guy, whatever it is.
Kris Tyson.
Yeah, but this is way more. This has more to do with MrBeast directly. I think this is more interesting. That's just like a tragedy and it's awful and everything. But this is, I made a video about it, but I don't. And in that video, I said I don't think this is enough to take him down completely. They're going to have to address it, but it's not going to topple him completely. There's nothing like that clear of okay, this is criminal, this is actionable. The worst thing I could see, which is why I mentioned those raffles, that's the closest thing to an actionable crime I've seen, is violation of the FTC regulations.
Laws and stuff like that.
But that would be not a huge, I mean, you could talk about a fine or something, but he's not going to lose his channel over it.
Yeah, I mean, nobody ever, so... I know with Kevin Spacey, right? Kevin Spacey committed a lot of crimes, alleged crimes while he was working on House of Cards, and nobody went after Netflix. And I think that's kind of the position that MrBeast is in here, because I know through firsthand sources that Spacey was, like it was known what he was doing. It wasn't like it was like a quiet secret, or it wasn't like a quiet secret, but it was a secret, but it was like people knew about it. It was colloquially known. But it was interesting when all the Spacey stuff came down, nobody went after Netflix. And I wonder if that's kind of like the thought process here with MrBeast. Like, yes, I did platform this guy, but, that's his legal issue as an adult.
But we're moving into a new realm here because that cease and desist, that's targeting this ex-employee because he's coming out saying, talking about something completely different than that guy. He's saying these are business practices, like these are MrBeast business practices. So it's like the head of, in that analogy, it would be like the head of, this is what Netflix is doing.
Right, but if there's NDAs there, what role does that play?
That's a good point. And I'm not sure what the grounds of the cease and desist would be, because that's what got me, is because everyone has, I guess there was some things that he knew that the public would not know, but many of the comments I've seen were like, how is it that it's just some random dude was the one who like blew the lid off this? Because basically just using logic and the evidence of that's within the videos. It's not a lawyer. It's not anyone else. Like anyone could have done that. He doesn't have any real inside information. He works there for like a month.
Yeah, so it's like a giant rabbit hole, honestly. But in case you were curious, MrBeast's YouTube channel, he has not posted anything in 2 weeks. And his latest video has 207 million views, which is a lot more considering his other ones. But I'm guessing everybody went there to go and flock and comment. We can actually look at ourselves.
That video already we had. I don't think this is. You probably see some change, but I don't think it's not a result of what's going on with this course.
There's really not a whole lot. Talk about it already.
Yeah, it's so fresh, and people don't understand what they love this guy. It's like a form of cognitive dissonance where people are like, wait a minute, it's going to take time to even break through into the reality of it. If this is real, how much of this, if it's real, but it's not a good look. The raffle thing is what stood out to me looking back at and that's what he does. Apparently they delisted those videos of those raffles. So if you are interested in seeing that footage, you can see it in that video of his. I don't think you can find it anywhere else, but a lot of people are responding to that and reacting to his video. So it's kind of spread. Yeah.
All right, Eric, any final words on the MrBeast?
Well, you talked about punchable faces earlier. MrBeast thumbnails just drive me insane.
It's a
There's
bit
something
much,
uncanny valley about him.
You know what he looks like?
AI altered, and it's just like
it's fake. He looks fake.
I don't want to like ruin Bucky's for you, but he looks like the Bucky's mascot if he became a human.
You're right. Hang on. Bucky's mascot.
I'm dead serious. Like that's what he's always looked like. He looks like Bucky the Beaver.
Oh my god. Okay, chat. Extra's ears onto something, so we got that right.
Look, that just.
But then we have.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, he does look like a chipmunk.
You're not wrong.
He went to my high school. Isn't that crazy?
What?
Yeah, he's from my hometown. Yeah, so.
Well, obviously, I'm assuming you guys didn't go to high school together.
No, different age. He's way younger than me, but I do see a lot of like the people that I grew up with in his mannerisms and his demeanor.
You know, Carolyn was his landlord, right?
Yeah, she said so.
Yeah.
Wild
such a
stuff.
small world.
Yeah, wild stuff, man. But let me hit up some super chats before I move on to our next topic. Unless you guys have any final words on MrBeast saga. No? Okay.
I'd be curious to hear the chat's thoughts on it.
Yeah. Benjamin says, I know my neighbor would get on the ganja one. She'd be smoking trees, seeing the spirit of Rastafari and Haile Selassie. I don't know what you're saying, but thank you, Benjamin.
He's talking about Sense.
Oh!
His laptop.
Jason says he debunked that the raccoon was not a paid actor.
Good point. He literally, that's an example of what that debunking was so stupid. And he literally said that, and everyone's response is like, dude, it was a joke. And the fact that he was taking that so serious, it's like, that's what you're going to take the time to tackle? That is pretty damning.
Wow. Okay, let me see. All right, caught up on the rumbles. Okay, Javi says, O'Keefe Media Group should look into MrBeast. That would be interesting. And lots of you guys in the chat. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here today. Please consider slapping the like button. And I'm sorry, I'm not Craig. All right, let's move on. So we have a lot of layoff talk to talk about.
I gotta say, Snot Lips just had, I think a comment, a winning comment. So with Kris being a lady, should his channel be renamed to Beauty and MrBeast?
I don't think, but I'm gonna be honest. Kris is an ugly lady, so
yeah.
I don't think it'd be beauty. I think it would just be monsters. Benjamin says, "Hey yo, don't disrespect Bucky's."
I said I didn't want to ruin Bucky's for anybody because Bucky's is fantastic.
I'm sorry. Listen, okay. We have a lot of layoff talk, and so but before we get into the video games layoff, I want to talk ABC News, which is a subsidiary of Disney, in case you guys didn't know, if you're not in America, whichever the case. So this comes from the New York Post, and it says ABC News, GMA, so Good Morning America, staffers brace for layoffs as Disney demands budget slashes. Sources. So ABC News staffers are bracing for budget, blah, 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 blah. I hate when they always do the same title over again. The Mouse House has demanded that GMA reduce its bottom line by a whopping $19 million, up from the previous projections of $17 million, before the end of Disney's fiscal year on September 30th, an insider with knowledge told the Post. The expected layoffs comes as Disney began bringing down the acts at its TV group on Wednesday, slashing 140 jobs at its network that include Nat Geo and Freeform, Bloomberg reported. So obviously these people are totally safe from being fired. It's all the actual people who work their asses off in the crew department that are going to be losing their jobs, and they actually need the jobs because these guys up here make way too much money. It's lovely. Just cancel The View. That'd be nice. But I don't think they're affected. I think it's just GMA. Is The View Disney, by the way, or is it?
Disney's been doing a lot of layoffs. Like ESPN's been doing a lot of layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So it's going to be a bunch of production assistants and all that kind of stuff. All the background
but
stuff.
like,
I still need the crew members on there to
The View. That's not ABC, is it? Isn't that NBC?
I don't know. I don't watch The View, so.
The View.
And it's sad too.
It is
like,
ABC.
Knowing what I know about House of Cards, right? One of my best friends was a production assistant on House of Cards, and it is a very hard job. And you're working for it's like a paid internship, but you're really working your ass off, and you're picking up the slack for a lot of union people. You're doing all kinds of things, running all over the place. You're on set from like 4 a.m. all the way to. It can be like an 18 to 24 hour shift depending on what they need you for. And it's brutal work. And all these people are working for really is the experience and getting their foot in the door. So it sucks.
Yep.
Yeah. You working in that business, you're trying to be a production assistant. You're trying to get enough like notice. So somebody's like, oh, I'll give you a credit. So you can finally get onto one of the guilds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it's nonsense because they all say that that's what occurs. But it's like, oh, if you just be the hardest working one, picking up the trash and everything, like some producer is going to notice or care.
It's 100% networking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so chat was correct. I did Google it. The View is ABC. I completely forgot which network they're a part of. So yeah, just cancel The View and all your money will be saved. But like I was just saying, this post says it all. Meanwhile, sources told the Post that the GMA cuts won't be coming from the 8-figure salaries of the show's top talents, Robin Roberts, Michael Strahan, and George blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like,
Stephanopoulos.
Yeah, him. I hate them all. Michael's the least annoying one in my opinion, but it just sucks. Like, okay, but cut some of their salary. They're fine. They'll be fine without it. The people actually busting their asses are not going to be fine.
Do you know anybody that actually watches Good Morning America? Because I certainly don't.
I used to watch it as a kid before, like, because I was getting ready for school and stuff, or like if I didn't have school, I put it on.
But in the early 2000s, like network TV was still viable. It was still something.
It was still fun.
Yeah,
it's all boomers.
Like, we just didn't have the options that we have today. It's like now it's like when I get up, I typically listen to like Styx Hammer in the morning. Like that's when I'm getting ready, his stuff comes on, and that's where I get my morning news. And to that point, it's like he's on YouTube, and that's just where I go. I can't tell you like the last time I even turned on network TV. Like we have Sling, And a lot of that's just for like, again, I mean, Mazza loves making fun of me because I love my cooking shows, but I
It's
legitimately...
true. Listen, Lydia's a great cooking show.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't had standard TV or satellite in 5 years.
Yeah, I haven't had cable in 8 years. Like, with the satellite, it's free. You just have the big antenna or whatever. But to further continuing going, they all have contracts, the anchors, so there will be no cut at that level, if former ABC News execs said of the hosts, who are estimated to make $17 million and $18 million each, but they will have to cut jobs. I'm sorry, that's just disgraceful. And for some reason, there's a Jeremy in the chat saying, enough of this socialist talk. Dumbass, I'm not a socialist. You just got to point that out. You're an idiot. Anyway, and then ABC News has declined to comment, says the pending cuts at GMA come as the show loses ground to NBC's Today. So they're not even like number one with all this money that these anchors get. Amazing. On top, when it comes to viewers ages 25 to 54, listen, we are all in that demographic, and yet we are not the people watching the show. Sorry. Damn. That's depressing. Wow. Any final thoughts on beautiful ABC?
I don't know. I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot by having a lot of the personalities that they do. Like, what is Michael's? I get like the idea of having Michael Strahan there, but I think it's kind of a waste of his talents. I think he'd be better off doing like actual. I guess maybe he likes the more personal aspect, but it's just like probably he'd be better off doing commentary for football, to be honest. I know he's tried to break through into acting and whatnot, but I mean, does he bring anybody to GMA?
So he was on, do you remember how Live with Regis and Kelly was a thing?
Yeah.
And Regis retired and passed away, and then Michael came on to Kelly, and then he left that to go to this. So maybe he brought some people with him. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't particularly get pissed off by him for the most part. I don't mind him. He's kind of like the least harmful one there.
Yeah, Nuke in the chat sums it up perfectly. Michael Strahan has no personality. Like, they tried doing the same with like Howie Long, and I think you remember the other James Brown, not the singer, but there was the football player James Brown. Like, Fox tried to make him a thing for so long, and again, he had a bit more personality than Strahan, but he never stood out. Like, they had him on their version of America's Funniest Home Videos. God, I'm showing my age. So.
I think Mike says, the way PAs and tech people get abused within the industry is awful. Yes. If you are not in front of the camera, you just don't count. And it's absolutely a disgrace because you're basically the most important people. Anybody can just go in front of a camera and talk. It takes actual skills and hard work to actually make things functioning. And it's a shame that this is how people are treated. But there they are.
I mean, the stars are definitely going to feel the effects because they'll be getting their coffee like 5-10 minutes slower. So
I know, and they'll be like, Gretchen, where's my journal? And they'll be so upset. No, someone's at my door. Anyway, I don't know if you guys hear that. All right, Norm says, MrBeast is a psyop. The dude comes out of nowhere, somehow has billions of dollars to give away. It is always on the homepage of YouTube, and I don't know one person who watches his content.
My wife did.
I don't know a single person who's actually watched MrBeast.
Like, when I first met my wife, she that was like one. She was like, because I've been doing figure action for a long time, and she's like, "Oh, you're on YouTube." I was like, "Yeah, I'm on YouTube." She's like, "Do you watch MrBeast? He's this guy that gives away money, and I just like watching him." And I was like, "Okay," but yeah, she was a viewer of his for a long time.
It's my 13-year-old nephew.
That's what I was gonna say. It's mostly kids.
Yeah, I've never seen a MrBeast thing.
My wife was 28 when I met her, so
Well, I'm 28 now. I've never watched this video ever. But I got to pull this up from Epic Mike, but chat is flying. Here we go. Mike says, it's one of our core tenets with Epicverse to treat everyone with respect and value. It's amazing how far kindness and decency will take you. Yes. Can confirm I work with Mike. Okay. Alan says, shout out to the Clankers. Spoon emojis in the chat. That's where I get my news in the morning. Hill side scrollers. Thank you, Alan.
If you haven't checked out Sticks X and Hammer, check him out. Straightforward, to the point. Very, very, under 10 minutes, not a lot of rambling, good stuff.
Okay. So I think I'm caught up on everybody. Thank you very much. Okay. So moving on from one layoff to another, we never talked about this, and technically speaking, this is a bit of old news, but still worthy of talking about now. So there has been another layoff besides Bungie in the last 2 weeks, and this comes from Humble Games. So they gave a little thing about Humble Games, no longer basically just having a huge layoff. But in case people didn't know what Humble Games were, these were the games that Humble Games produced. And I'll be honest, I've never played a single Humble Games in my life. Have anybody of you guys played Humble Games?
I don't think any of those look familiar to me at all.
Yeah, Temtem was the
Forager.
only one that I had, and I don't own it. Actually, you know what? I own Ghost Song, but I've never fired it up. That's a Metroidvania clone that I got in a bundle.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of these. There's a lot of them. Here's your Temtem.
Temtem, Slay the Spire.
And actually, I own Superland. Reese Kane gifted me that, and actually, I have checked out Void Bastards, but I didn't really like it all that much.
Yeah, let me know, chat, if you guys have played a couple of these. The only one I recognize is Hat in Time.
Oh shit, yeah, Hat in Time. That's supposed to be a good one. I haven't played it, but it's supposed to be good.
This one looks interesting to me, unpacking, because I like organization. So if it's literally just packing boxes and things, I'm in. So here they all are. But it's a shame to see more layoffs go. But our biggest story of the day, and Extra Zero is actually going to walk us through this one, is the layoffs that we announced yesterday. Bungie with their massive layoffs. So Extra Zero.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share out here. So this has been an interesting one to see, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I've got my my screen up here. This comes from Manga Lawyer Learning the Law over on X. The Bungie CEO this is Manga Lawyer typing it. Bungie CEO, the communist LGBT symbols, the audacity of promoting be kind while firing 25% of the workforce, catering to the same type of people who will ultimately eat you alive. This is what happens when you prioritize sending a message over quality. It's beautiful to watch. This is Pete Parsons, and Pete is the CEO of Bungie. And it's been sad because even Yahoo Finance took a pot shot here, saying the Bungie CEO seemingly spent over $2.3 million on classic cars after the Sony acquisition. The Sony acquisition happened in 2022. It was kind of a big, I think it was, and other people I know like Lethal Lightning mentioned it being kind of like an FU to Microsoft during the Activision deal, where Sony swooped up Bungie for $3.6 billion. So now Sony owns Destiny, and Destiny's been kind of, you believe it or not, still has kind of been a cash cow for them. So this is a bit surprising, especially since the final shape was well received. It's like, what really was the reasoning for the layoffs? I guess is what I want to know. I know they're kind of giving like PR jargon, but I think there's a lot of speculation. Was this always the plan after the Sony acquisition to just kind of, okay, we've got what we need and now it's time to cut the fat? I haven't really been following this, but Yahoo Finance even calls out the fact that he continued buying cars after mass layoffs at the studio, and they linked to that article here. Well, actually, they linked to Kotaku, unfortunately. But yeah.
Before you go to this article, though, there is this this one tweet about his cars. I can't remember where it was. Was it Yahoo who tweeted out, or where was that tweet about the cars? Because I saw an image of it. I can't even remember where it was. Darn it. Where'd it go? Oh, I'll continue.
Yeah. This was Bungie's statement, and this is one of the most vacuous things that I've ever read as far as PR, because it really doesn't. Now look, to kind of get to it, they at least did give these people a decent severance with healthcare and everything, but it's still shitty. And at least they're not doing it around the holidays, though. it could be argued it is shitty to do this right before a lot of these people probably are parents and have kids that are about to go back to school. So this kind of leaves them in an odd predicament. But let's read the first few paragraphs here saying, and this was yesterday, written by Pete Parsons, the CEO. It says, this morning I'm sharing with all of you some of the most difficult changes we've had to make as a studio. Due to the rising cost of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it has become clear that we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. This means, beginning today, 220 of our roles will be eliminated, representing roughly 17% of our studio's workforce, which, again, if you count others, it comes up to close, as Yahoo mentioned, 25%. These actions will affect every level of the company, including most of our executive and senior leader roles. Today is a difficult and painful day, especially for our departing colleagues, all of which made important and valuable contributions to Bungie. Our goal is to support them with the utmost care and respect. For everyone affected by this job reduction, we'll be offering a generous exit package, including severance, bonus, and health coverage. I realize this is hard news, especially following all the success we've seen from the final shape, but we've navigated the broader economic realities over the last year, and after exhausting all other mitigation options, this has become a necessary decision to refocus our studio and our business with more realistic goals and viable financials. But it doesn't go into, again, it says that first we're deepening our integration with Sony Interactive Entertainment, working to integrate 155 of our roles, roughly 12%, into SIE over the next few quarters. But it doesn't give any roadmap or any real reason. Now, if you recall with Concord, they had Bungie help with that. And, and again, I know it's been argued that, perhaps this was always the plan, to cut the fat just to get Destiny and to get, the key people. But, I don't know. This just all seems very weird. I know also, too, is this perhaps recognition that, teams have become far more bloated? Because if you go in and look at the original Halo 2 crew, I mean, this was it. That's not... it's
impressive.
Yeah, Halo 2 is one of the most beloved and well-received Western games of our lifetime, and here this whole team is less than what they just cut the fat of. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I was playing Halo 2 just this week. An over 20-year-old game. And it certainly didn't have the staff. Is this more or less these companies realizing that the future of game development doesn't require hyper-bloated staffing? It does suck for these people because no one deserves to lose their job, especially when the company's touting their success and saying, hey, we just had the final shape and it was well-received, and, we're a billion-dollar company, but we're laying off 17% of our internal staff and more.
I just want to point out, like I said before we went live, there's a woman sitting on the helmet. Yeah. And I love that because everyone screams, there's no women in video games. And there's literally a chick right there who worked on Halo 2. And she's at the very front of the photo sitting on a helmet. Just point that out. But I found the tweet I was talking about with the cars for Pete buying the cars. So I just want to share this real fast. And this comes from Del Walker on Twitter. And he says, supporting your CEO's spending habits so they can buy rare automobiles every 60 days before being laid off is very 2024 energy, to be honest. So there it is. Pete loves his cars. And it's a shame.
Yeah. And if you remember famously, Nintendo, when they had the 3DS and the Wii U failures, the people at the top took a cut to their salaries in order to make sure that the workers, the people that actually were the cogs, the lifeblood of their industry, could remain in their positions and still continue to produce games. And it's sad that, and again, I am a capitalist. I believe in capitalism. I don't like cronyism. I think that this kind of behavior deserves to fail. I don't like seeing the workers suffer, but it's unfortunate that, when you had Nintendo having that success, they learned from their failures, they course corrected, the people at the top made sacrifices so the company could thrive. We got the Switch as a result. The Switch has been fantastic. It's been my favorite Nintendo system since the SNES. And and it's had a really good lineup. And I wonder sometimes too if like Iwata and the others had just said, "Nah, we're gonna keep our money, and we're not gonna make cuts." And they laid off a lot of creative staffers. Would Nintendo be in the position it's in today? And I think this chat there. Japan has dignity. It's ethics and dignity and being responsible, and just seeing that Pete was buying vehicles as his employees were suffering. He doesn't care about the company. He's not a gamer. He doesn't have passion. We need people in the industry that have passion. And you look at that original Halo team from Halo 2 and the team before it, when they were small groups of gamers making games for gamers with passion behind it. That's what we need to return to, and that's why I think a lot of people want AA to rise up, because the AAA scene, we're just seeing people that don't care about games. There's no passion. They're like, okay, we see a cash cow, we see these boxes we have to check off to appease our investors, and at the end of the day, that's why the game design really in the AAA scene, in my opinion, has not changed much in the past 20 years, and why something like Halo 2 still feels fresh in 2024, because it's like, well, they found their formula and they stuck with it.
Eric, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, this just goes to show like how far the AAA gaming scene has fallen in the last 20 years. I'm just thinking back at like the mid 2000s and how many AAA games we were getting across all the consoles and the PC and stuff. Mm-hmm. We were getting multiple releases a month that were just knocking it out of the park. And nowadays you're hoping to get maybe one that's actually worth your money a year. When you're like, you were trying to decide, okay, which game do I want this to spend my money on? Nowadays it's like, well, I might spend, and so many people have been in the industry over the last 20 years. What happened? Like Star Wars, for example, the Star Wars games. I remember I had a subscription to Star Wars Gamer, the magazine, because that's how many Star Wars games they were pumping out every year. And nowadays we used to get 3 to 5 like a year. Now we get one every 3 to 5 years.
Oh, it's insane if you think about it, with the EA license and how many exclusive, just the exclusive license they had and how many games they actually produce. Damn.
Just comment in the chat. Oh, sorry.
Warren, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad we got Elden Ring and games like that, but they're far and few between. The Baldur's Gate, and then now and then we get them. But it reminds me of the movie industry as well, and just entertainment in large, where we just have these. You were kind of talking about the size of the team versus like Halo, and I think it's similar with just production in general. There's a lot of different reasons for that, but the overall issue I'm seeing is that there's just so much wasteful spending, just too many cooks in the kitchen. It's less authenticity. It feels like it's just. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you all see Godzilla -1?
I didn't. I heard a lot about it though.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. What about it?
That movie was made for roughly, I think, $13 million. It won Best Special Effects. It had a very small team. They were very sensible with their budget, and it wound up being one of the best looking and best produced and made. And it also was, there's a lot of passion in it. All the actors, even subtitled, even not knowing the Japanese language, there was emotion there that conveyed. And it just kind of goes to show you that I think the problem with not only the film industry but the gaming industry is that they're trying to throw money at things and think that they're going to get, it's like that old saying, like you can put 100 monkeys in front of typewriters and eventually they'll produce Shakespeare. That's the mentality that a lot of people have. Is like, I could throw $100 million at something and I'll get gold. We'll turn 100 million into $1 billion. And it just hasn't been happening for these studios because they just have been losing the people that have passion.
Yep. Rings of Power is a good example of that. You cannot buy that elusive thing that we see. It's the first Star Wars, the first 3 Star Wars, vastly smaller budgets, technology, and they've been trying to recapture that ever since.
Yeah. Ghostbusters.
Lightning in a bottle. There's so many examples of that. It's remarkable.
It is crazy. Let me grab some super chats before we get into some more Bungie talk. Gear says, "Oh, the hypocrisy, the heresy, ideologies, whack." True. Milo says, "Just here, need to say Blab's looking like she's about to start a new National Lampoon's movie today. You're welcome." Trugger the White says, "DEI and high interest rates will do this to you." And Norm says, translation, Papa needs a new car and you're a financial drain. Get out of here. That's so sad, but true. And Alex says, the issue is the all or nothing profit strategy in game development and in movies. Production either sinks $300 million into something that needs to make $1 billion or it doesn't get made. No wrong with that. So, Extra Zero, before we move on to more layoff talk, is there any more for Bungie?
I mean, I think I kind of said everything that I had. Ultimately, like I said, their statement's pretty vacuous. I'm sure we're going to get some sort of whistleblowers or some people that are going to release internal data or some sort of leak. But right now, I mean, really, it's just a sad situation. All we can do really is speculate. Was this Sony? Was this bloat? Was it a combination of both? And, I've seen a few chats saying, like, Marathon is going to suck. And I think that's another problem, too, is Marathon could... When they first announced they were going to make another Marathon, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is Sony's attempt. The Bungie team of today is not the Bungie team of yesterday, but some of the DNA is still there. Is this going to be Sony's attempt to create a Halo? And no, it's just going to be another hero shooter type game. Or I don't know whether it's a hero shooter or an extraction shooter, but it's going to be multiplayer only, and I feel it's probably, unfortunately, going to be DOA. It's like, what are you doing to differentiate Marathon from Destiny's multiplayer, for instance? And it doesn't seem like they're doing anything. I think there's a hunger for more linear single-player content, and I was talking about that yesterday in regards to Halo. Halo was a game where it was from start to finish, moment to moment instances that were fun. You didn't have to grind. You didn't have to play a lot to get to that fun. And I think that's one of the things that's missing. And that was like, when they first announced Destiny, I was super hyped, and I was really looking forward to it. And I did have some fun with friends, but I just really didn't like the design, and I didn't like how grindy it was, and it just never recaptured any of the fun or excitement that I had playing Halo. It had its own, but it never really was there. And I kind of hate seeing the fact that they've lost it.
Yeah, so I do want to talk a little bit before we continue off with the layoffs about a former Bungie dev. Did you guys hear about that? No? Okay, so this is from, where are you from? This is from the Video Games Chronicle. And this is Step Down Pete, former Bungie devs react to layoffs. And this guy basically just yells at Pete. So it says, on Wednesday, a Destiny developer announced plans to lay off 220 staff, roughly 70% in studio, we know. But following the news, several Bungie employees took to social media to voice their anger at the decision. A large amount of the backlash was directed at Bungie boss Pete Parsons. You are a thief, a liar, and so many things we can't discuss publicly, community manager Leanna Rupert alleged on X. Step down and without the giant Sony payout. This isn't on Sony, this is squarely on the failure of leadership, plain and simple. Griffin Bennett, former Destiny community manager, added, Pete is a joke. So, lots of people hate this guy. It's amazing. C-Suite taking accountability for any of this or still just withholding bonuses, and it'll be settled in-house, Bennett wrote in another post on X. And poor leadership has crushed one of the greatest developers of all time. Retire, Pete. And it just goes on. Lots of people are pissed at Bungie. And I mean, honestly, rightfully so. Look at what the state of it's in right now. So there are people speaking publicly about it. I mean, that's really all they can do to an extent, I guess. Super chats. Matthew for 20 Canadian, thank you very much. Because we're on the talk of the entertainment industry and a lot of people are blaming unions for the issue that we're in right now, what are all your thoughts on unions and just in general? I feel like that would be a huge question for a panel stream.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to answer this, but since you sent 20 Canadian dollars,
It's a good question.
it is a great question. Yeah, we'll play a little video for you.
Well, sometimes you gotta slap a bitch.
So thank you, Matthew, for your 20. And I'm sorry we can't answer that. We'd be here for hours on that one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's one of those things that, in concept, sounds nice, but in execution, it rarely ever works. I was, in my younger days, I was part of the food workers union when I worked in a grocery store, and they royally dicked me over. you know, as they did a lot of the employees there. My uncle is part of the auto workers union, and he seems to like it, but also it's impacting his industry negatively. So, you know, even though my uncle leans conservative, it's one thing we never really see eye to eye on. But I generally, I'm not in favor of them. I'm more so in favor of people knowing their worth and knowing that if a job is mistreating you, that you're always welcome to go elsewhere. I think a lot of people don't seem to understand that a company doesn't own your time. You sell your time to the company. And I think we need to empower workers more than on an individual basis. You know, stop making things like your salary amongst your peers taboo to discuss, so people know their worth and they know their market value, and they're open and honest about it, and they, you know, share their skills with others.
Well, let me grab these super chats because
Yeah.
we still have topics.
But yeah, it would be
a
a long ramble. But yeah, that's the basis.
Sliver5 says Western devs are just too bloated. Spider-Man 2 needed to sell north of 7 million copies to break even. Insane given its use as tech from the second 2 games before.
$80 million to port the first game to PC, something modders did in their free time. Think about it.
Let's see. Antipathy says Halo became like COD, bloated with stupid mechanics. People say Infinite lacks content. Nah, too much lore ruining content, bad competitive environment. Wow.
No cohesion.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But I found this website, and I have to show this to you guys. Let me bring this in a little bit bigger so you guys can see this. But this is from publish.obsidian.md. And it's the game industry layoffs all for 2024. And you got to see this because it's insane. So this has been updated to include Bungie, which is yesterday's firing. And this is estimated total in 2024. 11,400 people have been laid off in the gaming industry alone this year. Not including 2023, 2022. After that, it's just insane. So we can, and this is like all like by date. So we have Bungie 220, Lively Studio unknown, but this place all has sources too, which is amazing. You got Humble Games, NetherRealm, Rumble Games, Splash Damage.
Wait, you
Wicked
mean to tell
Games.
me Mortal Kombat 1 didn't sell gangbusters?
Nope.
Like
it's insane.
People weren't on board with $10, $12 seasonal fatalities, and that Combat Pack 2 isn't enticing people to.
Yeah. Major hiring spree in 2019, 2020. Exactly. And then there's, Ubisoft games, and Ubisoft Toronto 33, Gameloft, a lot of Canada one here, huh? And it goes on this list. Look at this. This is all layoffs this year. So many companies.
It wasn't just the hiring spree, as people in the show have pointed out before. I'm trying to remember who said it particularly. I think Grum said it himself as well, that during the lockdowns, during COVID times, the issue was that a lot of BlackRock backed investment dollars were coming through to these studios, and it was, hey, here's a copious amount of money, but you have to agree to our terms in order to take the money. And I have my theories on it, which I've shared before, that I think this was done intentionally to devalue these brands so shells could scoop them up, and I still stick to that. But yeah, that was the thing, is that money came in and that money's dried up, and now I think that they were used to having cash flows that aren't there, and then also because of those check boxes, they set themselves up for failure. And I think you look at the new Mortal Kombat stuff coming out with the gender swapped Cyrax and Sector, among other odd choices. You're seeing that they've effectively devalued so many of these companies.
It's sad. And you know what? While you said all that, I just finished scrolling. It's impressive, this list. Look at that. Even Twitch was in here with 500 people laid off.
A thing that I would, if somebody has time, I would suggest doing is look at the stock prices in 2019 versus 2024 for all of these companies. And just see where they're at, and then keep track and see, again, I know Sony got Bungie. They're probably going to be safe in the long run because Sony's not going to go anywhere. But the ones that aren't bought up by Microsoft or Sony or larger companies, where do they go? Who buys them? and that's what people I think need to pay attention to.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Eric, Warren?
Not really, not on that one.
I'm just surprised that this many people worked at a gaming company to be laid off. Like some of these companies, like they laid off that many people. What are they doing with that many people?
Great question. A lot of them are probably just playing in the pool rooms and all that stuff. I mean, think about Twitter. Remember the massive layoffs on Twitter? And so many people, these people would do a video of like their entire day, and they did absolutely nothing. And I kind of think that's what they were doing here too. Now, obviously, people who actually busted their asses in these companies, unfortunately, have gotten laid off. We can't ignore that because it's true and it's sad. Because they bust their ass only to get fired. But it's so impressive that this is what it's come down to. Spoon Ninja sent a $1 tip on local saying AAA games is a marketing thing, and then says companies make games. Labeling as triple is just trying to say it's good without the blood, sweat, and tears of development. Wait until more quadruple A games come out. But we have one final topic to talk about today before we wrap up, and that comes from Accursed Farms. And so somebody sent me this yesterday. I'm sorry, I didn't get to see it. But basically, Europeans can save gaming, which is a whole interesting topic. Now, we're not going to watch this 11-minute video, but basically what it is that it's a European citizens initiative from Europe to stop destroying video games. So here it is. This is the actual official page. And that is from Accursed Farms that they created this. So they straight up want to save video games, which is very impressive. But the problem is I don't know how well this is going to work. So I will get to the timestamp of one thing. So 139, let's go there. That way you guys can see what this is about. If YouTube will ever load. Oh, look, YouTube never loads for me. Okay, cool. All right, so I will, continue on from this section. So it says objectives. The initiative calls to require publishers that sell or license video games to consumers in the European Union, in the European state. Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. The initiative does not seek to acquire ownership of said video games, associated intellectual rights, or monetization. Neither does it expect the publisher to provide resources for the said video game once it is continue it while leaving it in a reasonably functionable, playable state. So again, it's straight up trying to save video games in Europe. And let me go to his actual video. Okay, so here we go. I'm not going to play it, but it does have a beautiful presentation, so we can read that instead. Require basically what we just read here, but in case you're wondering what it won't do, at 2:35, boop, boop, boop. Okay, so here's what the initiative will not do. Require publishers to give up IP rights, require publishers to give up source code, require endless support, and require publishers to host servers, and require publishers to assume liability for customer actions, and lastly, interfere with business practices in any way while a game is still being supported. So, as Bio says, in the USA, you legally don't own software, which is technically true. I mean, think about it. Every time you buy digital. But go on.
I was going to say, I've been saying this for a while now that we at least need some sort of legalese that protects games in the way that movies are protected. Because I've said it before, imagine Scarface without the soundtrack. Imagine, say oh, hey, you remember the movie The Indian in the Cupboard, right? It had a Darth Vader and RoboCop cameo in there. Oh, well, hey, MGM doesn't want to play nice, so we have to digitally edit RoboCop out, or we can no longer sell this movie. Mortal Kombat 2011 is a prime example. It's probably my favorite Mortal Kombat game in the past 15 years. And that's a game that they can't sell because the DLC had Freddy Krueger as a guest character, and they don't have the rights for it. So I do think we need something that hey, games once they're made, once they're published, they can be resold, reprinted, and stuff like The Crew. The Crew has a perfectly playable single player, but they've made that game unplayable altogether. Like you can't, even if you bought the game at full price, you can't play it anymore, and they gave you no alternative. So we do need some sort of something in place that protects consumers, but
Yes.
the issue is always going to be government overreach.
Exactly, I agree. So to further continue this discussion about this specific one, I honestly don't see how well this can be, like how well this will be successful, because in that video, which you guys can find, it's on YouTube, it's called Europeans Can Save Gaming from Accursed Farms, or is it Accursed Farms? I'm sorry. And the problem is you need 1 million signatures, at least 1 million signatures, because apparently a bunch of them will be discarded. And to make it even harder, you need a minimum threshold per country also. So it's not like a whole bunch of people in the United Kingdom or whoever, or like Belgium can go and sign it and then you guys are set. Nope, that's not how it works. You must be a citizen of an EU country, not a resident. So that's the kind of easy part there, because obviously you can just be a citizen but not live in the country, so you're not a resident. So that's kind of like a safety net there. And you must be above the age of voting, wherever that is for the place. But I don't know. I hope this goes well in, protecting the consumers' rights. But I just don't know if this is the way to go about it, especially because this is, like Extra Zero says, government overreach. So what are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, if they consider video games an art, they need to put more effort in preserving it. Like, since we've moved away from consoles with cartridges and physical media in general, and now everything's digital DRM and stuff, and you need to log into their servers to make sure you have the most updated version. More and more games that people love are going to be 10 years unplayable because of that. And it's kind of sad. Extra Zero's mentioned like film is preserved. And even though it might be hard to find a Blu-ray copy of some certain films, but you can always find at least some form of media in general. If not, the film is preserved somewhere, and hopefully eventually it'll be released. And a lot of companies take the effort of going through preservation, and I think we need something like that for video games.
So actually, here is the petition that this whole initiative is about. So here it is. It's from stopkillinggames.com. And they give you a whole play-by-play of everything going on. But I don't know. I hope the best to them. Good luck to them for this. I'm just, like I said, this whole threshold of you need to have 1 million signatures minimum. And then, depending on country, that's a lot. A lot of people are like, yeah, I'm with you. But they won't actually do anything about it. They won't sign. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, Extra Zero makes the greatest point of government overreach. So, yeah. Warren, any final thoughts on that?
No, I agree about just preserving. It sounds interesting, and there's a lot of games I wish I could access, for sure. Yeah.
I think they've set the precedent, too, that if a game is... if a game has measures that the customer doesn't own it, they're also, by doing this sort of stuff, what Ubisoft has done with The Crew, they're encouraging piracy. They're encouraging people to take preservation into their hands proactively, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot by not, having any provisions in place that benefit the consumer, because you're going to have a certain section of gamers that are going to be like, nah, not on my watch.
All right, so we could possibly talk Star Wars Outlaws. Extra Zero, do you still have time to chat, or you got to bounce?
I've got a little bit of time.
All right, now I know you know who G-Man is, right?
I do, yes.
So do you want to fill us all in on who G-Man is while I pull all the links up for you?
So G-Man Lives is a YouTuber who primarily is a big fan of boomer shooters and classic games. He's I like him as a reviewer. I mean, I wouldn't say he's super based, but he's fairly common sense, and I think he tends to have pretty good takes. So I saw that he posted a video the other day that said, like, Star Wars Outlaws is potentially good. I can't remember how he worded the video because he took the video down not long after, but the long and short is that he was, for the first time that I'm aware of, made into Access Media, where he went to an Ubisoft Australia event and he got 4 hours of time with it. And it was funny because he kicks off the video taking pot shots at the Acolyte. He kicks it off taking pot shots at the Battlefront Classic Collection. And then he just, even though he's showing glaring technical issues with the game, he starts gushing about it almost. And he started getting blowback and criticism from, the people that are his normal viewers that were like, this is very uncharacteristic of you. Within about an hour, he had taken the video down because I'd put it on the radar of friends. And then there was a lot of back and forth on Twitter about whether he should put the video up. And there were a lot of Disney shills that just kind of came out of nowhere that I don't recognize from his normal contents, just like cheering him on and telling him, no, be you, put your opinion back up. Like, I kind of feel like he almost had like an internal battle of like, man, I kind of was shilling here.
But it's important to note that he didn't take down his video. He only privated it.
Yeah.
He didn't actually delete it completely. So
But he privated it, but I didn't see it in my history because there were people asking me like, hey, did he say that he got flown out anywhere? And he didn't. He just said that thanks to Ubisoft Australia, I got to sit down and play 4 hours of StarWars Outlaws. So I don't
guess they sent him a demo.
I don't know whether he was sent a demo or he went to an event, because Boomstick Gaming, who also is kind of like G-Man, Boomstick Gaming was a guy that famously became popular when IGN got caught red-handed years back plagiarizing his Dead Cells review. And so, he came in and did a very gushing video about Outlaws. And again, he's talking about the game and the mechanics. And as he's talking about it, the footage shows technical issues, and he never mentions those issues at all. And it's just, it's the most surreal thing. Like, is this a concerted effort to hijack independent gaming voices and try and present, because this game doesn't have any momentum, if you think
it's
about
pretty
it.
dead,
Like,
yeah.
There's marketing around it, but I haven't heard anybody in any fan base, even my friends that are still piggies who eat the slop, and I have them. I have those sort of Star Wars friends. Like, I have a friend that's like, Acolyte, don't listen to people. Acolyte's an 8 out of 10. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But even those friends are not talking about this game. Like, they have no momentum that I'm aware of. And, it's just this weird combination. Like, I think people in general are kind of tired of Ubisoft open world games. I mean, maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows will have that momentum, because there are people that are just going to see Assassin's Creed in Japan and they've read nothing about the game. But I just, you see Star Wars, people aren't watching it. People don't really care to play another open world Ubisoft game. The monetization on this game is terrible. I think that they're doing what they can. Like, hey, if bots don't work, let's try and get respected voices in the independent scene and see if we can sway them to build up hype and momentum, like a grassroots sort of thing.
Yeah, I actually, what you said the other day in our Discord, you said from IGN, and since there's somehow never been an open world Star Wars game before, it feels new, fresh, and most welcome. And you were saying that you think that everybody's going to say something along those lines.
Yeah.
They're all paid out.
Yeah, I said watch that line get repeated.
Mm-hmm. And I don't doubt it, because everyone does that. Like with Disney Marvel, it was always the same type of words, same buzzwords, always tweeted out. So we'll see.
Yeah, people pointed
I
out
don't know anybody
galaxies
excited for this game. Even like Raging Rhino, who's a huge Star Wars guy, he has zero interest in even just trying this game out just to see how it is. Nobody's interested. Warren, are you interested in Outlaws?
No. I wish I was, but no. I've just kind of lost my enthusiasm with Star Wars.
What about you, Eric?
I'm like Warren. I've lost my enthusiasm for Star Wars, and I used to be a huge Star Wars nerd. Like Star Wars Galaxies, like there hasn't been an open world Star Wars game before. Like, I played Star Wars Galaxies in beta, and I've in the last 10 years I've gone back and played it on the fan servers that they've come up with in the last since they closed down the game. Star Wars: The Old Republic is another, but those granted those are MMO online games. They're still open world Star Wars games.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at Outlaws, and all I see about Outlaws, like I'd rather just go play Shadows of the Empire or Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight again.
I think the argument that they're making are those are the older games, right? Like pre-Disney. But here's the thing that they seem to always forget is the Lego Star Wars game that came out in 2022 is technically speaking an open world Star Wars game, but because you can fly to all these different planets, all these different worlds, and you can go and explore them all. So technically speaking, that is an open world Star Wars video game, and they're totally ignoring that because they're like, that doesn't match our agenda. We have to say this Ubisoft game is the first open world one because money talks.
I mean, Jedi Fallen Order wasn't exactly open world, but it was open area, and those areas were kind of sprawling. You had, I think 4 or 5, no, I think it was 5 or 6 planets you went to that were pretty big, kind of like, open Metroid-style environments.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's good. I would love an open world quality Star Wars game. That would be awesome. I would love to get back into Star Wars. So it's a sad thing. I wish I could get into it again.
Warren's conflicted. He's like Anakin over there. He's like, what do I do?
It's not a choice, is what I've come to realize. You can't force quality. You can't force yourself to like something if the quality's not there, even though you have the sentimental, the values there. So.
Let's finish this up with like a little tease from Star Wars because it's some new Ubisoft Outlaws look, and then we'll wrap it up. But here is from Star Wars. Let me play this. Okay.
It's really exciting to step into the world of Outlaws because this feels like Star Wars, but you're in it.
We wanted to have that sort of main journey for KVS, but it also meant that we wanted to encourage players to explore the first open world Star Wars game.
There are very seldom stories being told through this.
I just want to point out that this is the chick, and then they ruined her.
Doesn't look anything like her.
It looks nothing like her.
Perspective, especially K-Vess being a young thieving scoundrel.
This job, it's a death wish. I'm in.
Her and Nyx jump on this adventure, and her dream is what takes her far.
We tried to put our spin on it and create something that was just a little bit fresh and new. When you enter the Star Wars galaxy, especially a droid, it's amazing.
It's invigorating. It's exciting.
They have written and fleshed out this beautiful journey.
I think you're going to enjoy it.
I don't know what could feel more exciting than that.
If they just
looks
created,
fresh and new.
Yeah, if they had done a character creator, that would have solved a lot of the problems. I think
The
that would be
only
way
good
more
thing
appealing.
from this video game was D. Bradley Baker's voicing stuff because he's a fantastic voice actor. But other than that, chat, let me know, and you guys also. Does this entice you and excite you in any way to go and pick up the game on August 30th this month, mind you, because it's August 1st? I don't think so.
I just go play the old Star Wars games. They're actually good.
Yep. And it looks just the same as like the 2017 Battlefront 2, and that's from EA. And again, from 2017, it's like, what are we doing? Anyway, guys, so that is the conclusion of our show today. Warren, what do you got going on?
Oh boy. I launched a Patreon. I'm trying to just keep the YouTube channel making content. But yeah, I'm rolling out exclusive content on there. So if people are interested in more than what's on YouTube, you can head over to Patreon.
Okay. And you mean the movies, Eric? What's going on for you?
No, I know. Just doing movie and TV reactions over on our channels. But yeah, if you want to, we're going through Jaws and The Man with No Name franchise back and forth. The summer of spaghetti and sharks. So.
Oh, and before I get to Extra Zero, let me grab these. Superbase says, Hafa die. Okay, thank you. Don't know what that means. Gear says, we're not gamers. We're globalists. Ban D. Oh, we're gamers. I was like, what the hell? We're gamers, not globalists. Ban DEI already. I agree. Master Gao says, unions are commies BS to keep bad workers on the job, dragging down companies. Remember, the hammer in communism is the worker. Also, side scrollers blab saying, ew, don't be weird. No, absolutely not. Listen, if you want your weird sense, I don't know, go buy a Gwyneth Paltrow candle. And now, Extra Zero. What's going on with you?
So, if you're into anything action figure related or collecting, we just had San Diego Comic-Con. So tonight on Figure Action, we go live on the Figure Action podcast channel. That is my show. 9:00 Eastern. We're going to be talking about the rest of the SDCC reveals, and there were a lot of them. There were a lot that we couldn't get to last week. We're going to talk about the shadiness going on with the exclusives because they've been kind of hard to get. So I'll be doing that tonight. And then also, too, if you're interested in seeing me do some gaming, I was on the Melee Games channel this past Tuesday, so go check out that Halo video. We played a lot of custom games from community member Dude1286, and we had a lot of fun. So I was there for the first couple hours of that. So a lot of chaos, and if you want some good laughs, go check that out.
Awesome. All right, guys. Their links are in the description below. And we're going to finish off with Superchats saying that's hello on Guam. Okay, thank you for that. All right, guys. People are going to try to keep it down. 2 minutes. You guys got to go get it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for bearing with me. And fatality. Okay.